How are you doing? It is Thursday, and it is time for another great show. We have our Civic Cafe. Of course, I need to fix the date on there. That date is incorrect. It is 74 degrees in Kitsap County here in Bremerton. We are enjoying the day. I hope that you are too. We're not faced with the 90 plus degree weather, which is awesome. And so I'm appreciative of that, but we do need the sun. We were waiting on it. I remember talking with folks and asking, hey, is the summer ever going to get here? Oh, it got here all right. So we'll take the, milder temperatures. They will be increasing here into next week, but I don't think we'll be hitting those super high temperatures. But we're not here to talk about all that. We're here because we have our city council, District 4, Jane Rebelowski. Let me go ahead and give her an applause and the horn and bring her on up. Jane, how are you doing today?
I'm well. And thanks to that warm weather, I picked the first cucumber out of my garden yesterday. So
Really?
I was glad it finally warmed up.
Wait. So you didn't lose any of your crops during the 90-degree?
No, I live with my grandson and my brother, and between the three of us, we kept stuff watered.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
I'm not looking forward to my water bill, but you know.
Yeah, I had an epic fail. My kale stalks look like straw right now, so we'll wait and try something in the fall.
Yeah, I don't grow a lot of things. I have two raised beds that are about 4 by 8, so I got a couple tomato plants. I got quite a few cucumbers. I got onions. That and some herbs is about it.
Well, that's good. That's significant. That's a lot more than I have.
Yeah.
So,
Well, those are my favorites too.
oh, are they?
Yeah.
You know,
Nothing like a tomato sandwich when it's warm off the vine.
oh,
My
wait,
favorite sandwich.
a tomato sandwich. Do you put anything else on it?
Little mayo, salt, and pepper on white bread.
Oh, that does sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm. All right. Well, hopefully others of you are out there maybe toiling in your gardens or thinking about doing it. If not, it's always summer reading program at the Kitsap Regional Library, so take advantage of that. But Jane, let's get into it. What's been going on the last month or so? Because we didn't have a show last month, so it's been a minute. Catch us up.
Well, we've actually our council meetings have been pretty light, to tell you the truth. I mean, we've been getting out at 7 o'clock, 7:30. It's kind of shocking, um, because there's a lot of things to discuss and to work on. But I guess that's just the way it's going right now. I don't set the agenda. There's a lot of things that are like renewing contracts or okaying grant applications, that sort of thing. But last night, there was some interesting things come up at the study session. The administration would like us to modify the uh, camping enforcement policy. And
Okay.
right now, we have it so that you can't camp in any public space, sidewalks, planting strips, parks, anything, as long as there's available shelter space, which there is. But then there was that Supreme Court ruling a few weeks back where they said that cities don't have to provide shelter
Mm.
and that they can just clear any encampments. Well, most of us in the city realize that a lot of the people who are houseless have severe mental health problems or alcohol and drug problems. And then there's some people, it's a small amount, but some people who are just preying on the folks that are mentally ill or have drug and alcohol problems. So, council, we're going to have further discussions, and we really want the public to come in and give testimony on what their points of view are. That we still have our community partners who are working on putting together a shelter where some of it would be low barrier. And that means folks who are unable to be sober or have mental health problems, that they would be allowed in without really, pushing them aside to the street. And then in addition, as people get services, we would hope that they could move up into a little bit more independent living, like in a pallet shelter, where they would still have services available, but still have a lot of support there and be able to lock their door and to have, more privacy. So our community partners are still working on that. They thought they had a good spot for it. And when the appraiser came in to determine the fair market value, the property owner wanted substantially more than the appraiser could say it was worth. And of course, using grant money, you can't pay way over an appraisal. So that one fell through, but I know they're busy working, finding something else. So we're going to have a discussion, and we're hoping a lot of community interest in either sending us emails or coming to speak at I think it's August 7th. I got to look at my calendar.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat.
It's whatever the first Wednesday of August is.
First Wednesday.
Yeah, so that would be the 7th.
All right. So August 7th, come on down to City Council. And you want to be on time because right after the mayor's corner, if you will, that's when it's opened up for public recognition. But I believe this will be an actual item on the agenda, correct?
Yeah, this will be an actual item. So it's not the public recognition part. You can come and talk about anything except things that are on for general business. And this will be on general business. So after we get through public recognition and reading of the consent calendar, then most likely the first thing up will be the presentation of this proposed ordinance that's modification that's being proposed by administration.
Oh, so this is being proposed by the mayor then?
Yes.
Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Well, what he and his staff would like is for us to remove the section that says you won't get in any trouble if we don't have shelter space.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And right now we have 9 more months before the Salvation Army shelter closes. So, I'm not sure how all the other council members feel, of course. And this is just my feeling is we have a little more time to think about it. Now, nobody wants it to go back to what it was last summer. I mean, that was hell on earth for everybody. The neighbors, the people dying, the volunteers who were working so hard to, try to save people's lives. Our first responders, I mean, the fire department guys, the paramedics and police officers who are Narcaning somebody. And then the next day they're Narcaning them again because that person is too sick to realize that how precious life is. And they go right back to using. And that's really discouraging. So nobody wants that to happen. But I want to give our community partners more time because we have time before we change the ordinance in that way.
Well, I'll say, Jane, I may not make it just because I'm typically broadcasting it, so I kind of need to be where I'm at. But some of my concerns, I share are similar to yours, where you have Sally's that's open. One, they can only take so many people, but then they
Hmm.
only have the capacity to take so many of a typical type of person, if you will, right? If they are struggling with pretty severe mental health issues, it may cause issues with other people that are there. And you're seeing, even though, and shout out to Salvation Army for staying open uh,
Hmm.
throughout, you still have homelessness,
Yeah,
down
absolutely.
King and all the way down to Rydell and beyond. So um, I just saw an article that is saying that evictions are up even higher than post COVID, and this is kind of nationwide. So I don't know how that's going to impact us here, but we still have this squeeze. You still have folks that are suffering at the top that we don't see, and we have the
Hmm.
folks that are already here. Man, it doesn't sound good.
You know, I read something, and I read it on the internet, so it might not be true. It probably isn't true, but it said that now almost half of the houses in the United States are owned by private equity firms. So
Half?
they can, yeah, half,
Wow.
if they're rentals. Um, and that's just amazing. And I know they're relentless with me. I get a postcard at least 3 to 4 times a week saying, "Hey, this is your friend Jesse. You want to sell your house at this address?" And it's like, A, I don't have a friend Jesse. And B, I can tell from your address you don't live around here.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, they can charge whatever they want. And when I was out campaigning, um, God, it was only last summer. These folks, I was talking to them, and they were really supportive. And I'm like, I put a yard sign in your yard? And they're like, no, it's in our lease. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's a corporate owned house. We're not even allowed to put out a gay pride flag or nothing. He
Wow.
said, we think we can put an American flag, but we're not even trying that because the
Right.
rules are so tight.
And you
So
can't afford to get evicted because where are you going
no.
to go? Oh man, yeah, we have a huge issue. I mean, what would be if the mayor is saying to take out that section that nothing will happen to you, then what would be the consequences that the mayor is advocating for? Is it jail or treatment? Like you have a choice and that's it? Or is it going to just try to run them out of Bremerton? Like,
I don't know, because we all know there's not enough treatment beds.
mhm.
We also know that our court systems are overloaded, and our public defenders are way overloaded. So our prosecuting attorney for the city has to be really careful what they prosecute, because the Washington State Supreme Court is changing how many cases um, a free lawyer can do a year. And
Oh,
so the city's already gotten another half time, but we can't really afford to like just keep buying defense attorneys.
mm-hmm.
So they have to be really careful about any arrests they make. And then what happens when you arrest somebody who's severely mentally ill? Well, the jail's not going to even take them. They're going to tell the cops, no, we can't do it. You put them back on the street. So there's cruelty all the way around. It's like, and I don't mean, I'm not trying to say the mayor's cruel or the judge is cruel or anything. I'm just
It's the
saying
system. The
we
system.
have to come up with a real solution for these folks who are struggling so bad. I see the same people sitting on sidewalks, and it's just awful. I mean, their life looks like such a nightmare. And I mean, your society's as good as the least of you. And if we can't take care of folks in that situation, I mean, what are we?
We're definitely in bad shape right now. I
Hmm.
think, Jane, that one thing that people might overlook is the physical pain that someone goes through as they are starting to withdraw from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these drugs are not the drugs from the 80s and the 90s. This is
Yeah.
stuff, and it's so painful. And yes, you have folks that have mental health issues on top of the addiction, but for those that don't, it is tremendously painful. And when you're thinking with a sober mind, and you're like, I don't have a job, I don't have any skills, I don't have first, last, and deposit, I've been evicted. Even if I want to stop and I stop, what are my options? I'm still out here homeless.
Right.
I'm burning up hot or I'm freezing cold in the winter. There's no resources. It's just so easy to make that choice, and I think that's why one of the reasons why we see the numbers so low, people coming out of that and being successful. But it's
Right.
also why it's so critical that when someone wants to tap out, that we're there to swoop up with as many resources as possible to give them the best chance possible.
Well, the city has signed off on numerous opioid lawsuits. And so, what that does for us is we get a piece of the pie. Like our attorney general was really successful in suing a lot of the big corporations that increased the opioids on the street. Like, I don't know if it was Safeway, Kroger, they were ignoring that people were being overprescribed drugs, because there's pill mills and stuff. And they were, filling these prescriptions where, you know, they knew that if you took 2 pills a day, you shouldn't have more than 60 in a month. But yet they were filling prescriptions for 300 pills for a
Oh,
month's supply. So anyway, our attorney general was successful in a lot of these lawsuits, and they're big, big money, but they're spread out over numerous years, like 10 to 15 years. And the state gets half of all of it.
mm,
And then the rest of the money is split amongst all the cities that sign off. And so at first we were getting kind of small amounts. I mean, amounts that really wouldn't make a big dent,
mhm.
because it also comes with a lot of paperwork. And so the city would have had to hire basically a full time staff member just to do this work, the paperwork, and we wouldn't have cleared that much money. So a lot of cities had been combining it all with this one group. But now that there's more and more money coming in, the council has asked for an accounting of exactly how much money we're getting, so that maybe instead of using it the way that we are using it right now with this big kind of outside group. I mean, they're not really outside. It's all of Kitsap County except Polsbo. I don't think they got into it.
Okay.
And Jamestown tribes, and I think Clallam and Jefferson County, but I'm not positive about that. And we're wondering if maybe we should keep more money local, so that, and if there's enough money, I mean, we could get together with Port Orchard and Kitsap County, and if Polsbo and Bainbridge wanted to chip in and actually maybe put in a real detox here,
Ooh,
you know? I mean, I don't know if there's enough money. They haven't given us the full accounting yet. It's just like bits and pieces. So, and it might be a couple years, but then hopefully with the state's money, it's going to be money that each city can apply for grants against it. Like once you come up with a good idea and show them a financial plan, then they might say, okay, Kitsap County, you get an extra $1 million or whatever.
I would love that. And we transport folks to medical detox, and we're going as far as Spokane and Yakima.
Yeah.
We're constantly in Oak Harbor, so we're out there. So to have something close would be huge, huge.
Plus, this is people's community.
Mhm.
So, you lose a lot of support when you have to go halfway across the state.
Well,
But
and I would,
but if they're willing to go anywhere, it's like go take them. But
yeah.
how do you get reimbursed from that for that? Is that through the county or the?
So we have, so what the county is 211. So we're part of 211 when the severe weather shelter opens.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, we were partnering with, oh boy, I've got a blank on it, Agape, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and the resources were being pooled there. They have now split out, and now we're being funded through them specifically, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so we partner through them, and that's how that works. And
Well,
then
that's good. I'm glad.
they do their own.
I'm glad you're getting funded for it.
Yeah, I mean it's just sad because the need is so great, and
Yep.
you know the beds are still finite, right? It's not just here in the county that is fighting for these bed spaces. It's other cities and counties too. So
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, there's a bed that opens up at 2 a.m. or uh, 11 p.m. And then we have our ferry issues on top of that, and you don't get there at a certain time, can't come in. So there's all these things that kind of go into that. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, having one local would be huge. And for those that were, really concerned about having those types of services here, I remember the conversation around having a methadone clinic. And most
Yeah.
people don't know there's a methadone clinic here. I pass every day, and you have no idea.
I
So,
know. That was crazy how upset people got about that. It's like, what do you want, man?
well, you know what? I get it when you don't know and you think it
Mm.
might, add to the problem, and I do understand it, but it's here. It's been here for a while now, and like I said, most people have no idea,
Yep.
no idea.
Yep.
I won't even say where it is because it doesn't even matter.
No, don't. I won't mention it either. And if anybody asks me, I'll just play dumb.
These are not the toys you're looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I would love for you to continue to share that out and let us know how much money is coming in once you get that answer. I'm sure you will. You always do. And then
It takes a while.
yeah, I know, I know. And winter is coming, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Game of Thrones reference. It's already. I was just telling someone earlier. It's almost September because we're planning for the 9/11 Sacrifice of Service event coming up, and it's like it's August. August is
Yeah.
like this
Just
year is just flying.
it is. Well, the day I turned 40, I was upset and I was talking to my mom on the phone and she said, well, get ready because the fastest 5 years of your life are between 40 and 75.
Oh, whoa.
And she was right, man. Time does go so fast. I mean, you remember when you were a kid, it was like, when am I going to be 13 so I can be a teenager? And now it's like, oh my God, I'm hoping I have at least 2 decades, but probably not. So,
Well, I don't want it to be too fast. I mean, I'm 51 now. I don't want to look up and it's like, oh man, I'm 74. Jane was right.
yeah.
Slow down, please. Slow down.
So, one other thing that we're working on, the ongoing saga of people parking in the bike lane on Washington Avenue all night long. Council's working on an ordinance now just to make it illegal and asking the mayor just to close off that bump out, because there's folks who've gotten 20, 30 tickets and they don't care. It's like they just want to park there. And they'll
Has
be,
anyone asked them why they are parking there?
well, I haven't talked to them. Staff said they talked to some of them and, told them that they were going to start enforcing it. And One person said, well, there's not an ADA assigned parking stall in our parking lot, but neither is parking on the sidewalk. I mean, there's no ADA ramp for them to get up from the sidewalk. So I don't know why they do it. It's just because there'll be empty spots in their parking lot too. Like I've gone down there at night to look, and it's like 3 cars parked out here, and there's 4 spaces left in their parking lot right now. So I'm guessing it's probably visitors, and maybe the apartment building only allows for residents to park there. I don't know. I just want them to stop. And then, speaking of bikes, these two, excuse me, very strong bike advocates took me out on a big bike ride this past weekend.
An electric bike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we rode around Victoria, which has done an incredible amount of bike lanes and bike safety features, especially in neighborhoods that were really low cost. I mean, they were really smartly designed, didn't cost much money. You felt so incredibly safe riding there. And there are all kinds of families and kids and skateboarders and scooter riders. And it was like being in a park, but yet you were on a residential street. I mean, they were really nice. And their bridges, I mean, they have a lot of bridges that are just for pedestrians and cyclists.
Oh, nice.
And God, their landscaping up there is just gorgeous too. Their their flower beds, I mean, it was just perfect. And the exchange rate is really good.
So tell me, what was your experience with the electric bike? Because I didn't get to read your post. I just saw it scrolling through.
Well, I really liked it as a trike,
Mm.
and it kind of had a bucket seat. So that I wasn't crazy about because it limited my my being able to turn easily,
Mm.
and I just had to rely on mirrors to see like if a vehicle was coming up on me, like if I had to scoot around a parked car or something.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I'm going to keep trying out all different ones. I'm going to go to some big bike shops and just say, let me at them and try 5 or 10 um, electric, either bikes or trikes, until I find one that I'm comfortable with, because it's like has opened up the world to so many people that never were able to do it. And so we did that on Friday. We took the ferry up from Port Angeles, and then we rested on Saturday. And then Sunday, we met up with a bunch of people ranging in age. I think I was was I the youngest? No, I wasn't the youngest. But there was one lady who was like 84.
Oh, wow.
And then County Commissioner Rolfus came with us, and her husband, and some other bike advocates local.
Mm.
And we rode down the Olympic Discovery Trail. We did about 15 miles in each direction, so around 25 miles.
Okay.
But it was just beautiful, and it's a nice asphalt paved trail almost all the way. There were certain spots where you had to go on the road, but it was a road that was wide.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of rooms for bikes. And you're going over these little bridges with nice, beautiful streams and big trees and dappled sunlight. And there's one section for I'd say, probably 2 miles that we were right along the ocean in, the Strait of Juan de Fuca as we're getting into Port Angeles. Then, as we were leaving Port Angeles, we rode through this beautiful mountain area, and we ended up at the Elwha River. And do you remember when the Elwha River had a dam on it? Did you ever see it?
Mm-mm.
Well, it was basically a dead river. and they removed the dams, and the Clallam County had to replace this bridge going over the Elwha. So they did this nice car bridge, but then they suspended another bridge under it. It's probably, I don't know, 25 feet below the other roadbed. And it's only for bikes and pedestrians.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and you're standing there and you're looking over this beautiful river that's come back to life with all these moving sandbars and everything. It was really magical.
So you can stop on the bridge and hop off
Oh
your bike.
yeah, you could
Oh,
you could have
really?
a picnic on the bridge if you wanted.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because it's just for bikes and pedestrians. In fact, we did. We had our lunch there.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool.
It was cool. And it wasn't like a massive grade. I mean, I'm glad I was on an electric trike, because at 67 and me being in the shape I am, there's no way I could have ridden it, just in a straight bike. But it was only like a 7.5% average grade, which isn't bad at all. You know, like a wheelchair ramp is 8%.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
so it wasn't bad.
But you know what? That sounds like a great way for folks to get active. I mean, they have the option to pedal a little bit and then go
Yeah.
electric when it's needed and take your breaks. And
And we saw lots of families. There's a lot of people carting their kids and getting out in the woods, and it's really nice. So one of the reasons why the bike advocates wanted me and Christine to go is to really encourage, as we someday expand our trail network, that it be paved and not just gravel. Because number one, gravel isn't ADA accessible. So somebody in a wheelchair could not stay on a gravel path for long, even well compacted.
Mhm.
Um, you really need asphalt. Plus, the asphalt holds up better. Um, you don't have to repair it as often. Where if you have a gravel trail, you're always out there fixing soft spots, and so
Well, Jane, let me ask you this question. First, everyone, we are talking with Jane. This is our Civic Cafe. Let me just make a correction also. G2 contracts with the real team, the Salish Behavioral Health Administrative Service Organization. That's a mouthful. To transport folks to medical detox. I want to make sure I was accurate there, and we appreciate all of our partners.
well, that is one of the groups that we send our money to, our
Gotcha.
opioid money.
Oh,
So,
well,
so
there
I'm
you
glad
go.
that it's going to some direct services too. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and local business as well.
Yes.
What I wanted to ask you was in the plans, um, do you see city council and the administration maybe entertaining having kind of like those green bikes that you see in the bigger cities so people can jump on those and scoot maybe to OC or further around
I,
into the city,
I would love to see that.
downtown to Manette?
Yeah, just to, and then there's the folks that, like my grandson, he works on the other side of the Warren Avenue Bridge. So
Mhm.
he rides his bike over there all the time, but somebody else, they could rent a scooter or a bike and get a little bit further, instead of them waiting around for a bus that might not be coming, or having to pay for a ride share.
Mhm.
So I think it'd be a great option for us. In fact, I got this email from a company that the city of Bellevue just hired, and they do the last 2 miles. So it's a car service that, like, they'll pick people up at the bus stop and bring them to their house,
Oh, God.
or things like that. I don't think we have a big enough population for that yet, but I do think that looking into scooters or bike shares is a great way to go. I mean, they're usually really inexpensive, and everybody needs an inexpensive way of getting around.
Well, and it's one way to make it a little more accessible. Like Kids Have Transit has a Scoot program, but if you don't have a license, then
Yeah.
you can't take advantage of that. So being able to hop on a scooter or a bike would be, a great alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a little bit more equitable, and younger people could take advantage too if you're not old enough to have a license.
Yeah, I mean, my grandson's 20. He has no interest in even getting a driver's license. You know, at some point, probably he will, but like when he has to start carting his grandma around. But
You'd be surprised how many people in this town do not have a license and are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. For
yeah,
transport. So we talk to a lot of folks. It's like, why do you use our service? Well, I don't have a license and I don't have an interest to get a license, to buy a car, to maintain it. And if I need a vehicle, then I'll call up ride check.
right. I know. It makes sense. It's expensive to own a vehicle,
Mhm.
really expensive. And it's not very environmentally friendly for the most part, you know. If you can ride a bicycle or a scooter instead, that's way better for the environment.
So
You know,
are you going to purchase an electric bike in your future? Is that coming?
yes, yes, it is. I do have one, but I crashed it twice.
What? Okay, tell
So,
that story quickly. Like,
well, I bought one that after I bought it, some of the bike advocates said, yeah, they're not really well balanced, and a lot of people fall on them a lot,
really?
and I did. So
Is that why you went with the trike on this trip here?
yeah, that's why I tried the trike. But then there's other bikes that are better balanced. Like they have their battery in a different place so that the bike's not so top heavy and everything. So
Gotcha.
that's what I need to look at.
Well, when you
So
do, will you please come on and just share with us, how you made your determination, what
yeah,
permits you said, nah, I didn't like that one, and which one?
yeah, and there's lots of people who moved here in I'd say the past 5 to 10 years who came here without a vehicle
Mhm.
at all, and they have a family. So they're getting their kids around on bicycles. Some of them have given up and bought a car reluctantly. So,
Well, it's kind of tough in Kitsap County. It's pretty spread out, so depending on where you're at and where you need to go.
yeah, that's true. But my world's pretty small, although I did go to Silverdale today. So,
Wow, you sound worse than I do.
yeah, I just had to drop something off for a friend. So,
Yeah, the joke is I have a transportation company and I hate driving.
yeah. Oh, no, I
I
get
don't
it.
know where anything is.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
over
thank God they have the
here.
smartphones now that tell you the directions.
Oh man, do you remember the Thomas guides?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh. We're
Yes.
dating ourselves now.
Or then when what was it, MapQuest came in and you'd have to print off 10 pages of
Mhm.
instructions, and then they were doing it like turn north, and it's like when you're in a place you don't know where north is. I mean, luckily in Western Washington it's pretty easy for us with the two mountain ranges to figure out east, west, north, south. But I've been in places where I have no idea unless the sun's coming up or going down.
Well, one of my many jobs in my 20s was to be a delivery driver for you and Louie, which was
Oh,
the photography studio for the high schools, taking pictures. So if you went to school here in Washington, Western Washington, you probably know you and Louie
uh-huh.
pictures. And so I used to have to deliver all the way from Eatonville, just all over the place. And it was Thomas guides back then. So
Ugh.
yeah, there was no MapQuest, there were no smartphones. It was a different time.
Yeah, I remember when I moved out here because where I grew up, we didn't have Thomas guides. We just had maps.
Mm-hmm.
And when my late husband showed me how to use a Thomas guide, I was like, I'm not going anywhere. So,
Just somehow things change. Well,
yeah.
those are great updates. Before we go, there was one other thing that we wanted to talk about. I just want to get your opinion on. Last Tuesday, I hosted my first debate um,
Hmm.
for the state representative. What is that, the 23rd?
Yeah, that was the 23rd.
And so the good doctor and Brent Felix and the incumbent were all having Greg Nance.
Hmm.
Shout out to the three of them. were having their debate, and I appreciate all of them coming on. And the NAACP has issued a statement, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I was at the debate, which you did a great job running, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And I was kind of shocked at some of the things I heard. So I can't say I was really surprised when I read the NAACP's statement, because one of the candidates really went out of their way to misrepresent, I feel, what the real issue was.
Mm-hmm.
And as somebody who's elected, there's just no reason to lie. Sometimes you can't tell people everything. Like, with our school board, what's going on now, I mean, they're quiet. But you never have to lie to people. I mean, it's just so hard to keep lies straight anyway, even if you wanted to lie.
Well, this is true.
So I was very disappointed, because that was one of the first things after that vote was taken. And we're talking about the vote to change the police policy to allow them more police pursuits in the state. And Mr. Nance voted for it. And I texted him that night, and I'm like, what were you thinking? Why did you vote that way? That's really harmful to a lot of people. And his response at that time was party leadership wanted him to.
Wow.
Well, but I don't know. I guess that's one reason why I'm really glad that city council's nonpartisan. And I personally am not a strong party member. I've been independent since the centrists took over the Democratic Party with Bill Clinton. So,
So it's been a minute, what you're saying.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So I'm glad Robert Harris came out with that statement. And it's important that people go look at it and read up on it and really understand. I think Representative Nance has done some good things, but he was appointed, and you have to work to get the whole community to be with you and to understand what your community wants and needs. Right. I know we need better ferry service, but that's not the only thing we need here in Kitsap. So
those are big facts. Well, I think I probably should just share the letter just to get text. I think that would be fair. And while I'm pulling that up, do state reps and other candidates, do they come to city council members and ask for their vote?
Yeah.
And endorsement? Does city council endorse individually?
Individually, we can. We don't ever.
Not as a core group.
Not as a group. No.
All right, so I've got the letter up here, and it says this was dated the 25th. Greetings, community members. It has come to my attention that one of our legislators, Representative Greg Nance, has indicated his voting in favor of SI 2113, Police Pursuit Laws, and SI 2081, Parents' Bill of Rights, was a result of consultation with NAACP Unit 1134, President Robert Harris. This assertion occurred during a debate on July 16, 2024, hosted by Mr. Marwan Cameron, that's me. During my conversation with the representative, Greg Nance, on March 19th of 2024, it was made clear that the NAACP Unit 1134 did not support, that's all in red for those of you that are just listening, voting for 2113 due to the severe negative impact it could have on our BIPOC community, as well as the potential for injury and property damage for those involved in pursuits of bystanders. Regarding 2081, I have Also, I have had no conversations with our legislators about this initiative beyond stating I would review the initiative and address it at the local level. I have taken no position currently. And I'm going to reach out to NAACP Robert Harris and see if he'll come on and elaborate a little bit more about this letter, but also that particular sentence.
Hmm.
What is local level city council? Like I'm curious as to that.
No. I think what he means is the parental rights bill. Um, like if you read more of it, the NAACP works the way a lot of governments do, where it'd be the federal, then the state, then the local. So he's waiting for um, a real conversation with the next level of the NAACP, I
Ah,
believe. That's my understanding, so
okay.
that he can hear conversations for and against to decide, which way they want to go.
All right. And so, upon learning of these incorrect statements from Representative Greg Nance, I reached out to him on July 17th, 2024, requesting he put out a statement to correct his error. As of today, I have yet to receive the corrective statement that Representative Nance from Representative Nance, as my request to Representative Nance to correct his statement has not been addressed, and the false assertions of my support for 2113 and 2081 are on social media. I felt it important the position of the NAACP Unit 1134 be clarified regarding these matters. To reiterate, NAACP Unit 1134 was in all red, never in support of S1 2113. This was clearly communicated to all parties concerned. I have not taken a position on 2081. Typically, guidance regarding state initiatives or bills comes from the NAACP State Area Conference, Alaska, Washington, and Oregon. At the local level, NAACP Unit 1134 would adopt the position of our state area conference, allowing us to address issues or concerns at the local level. I fully expect Representative Nance to address the incorrect assertions he made during the July 16th, 2024 debate with the corrective statement addressing the matters discussed above. If there are any questions regarding this letter, please feel free to contact me by email or phone. Regards, Robert Harris. I will also reach out to Greg Nance. I've already sent a request because I've done a one-on-one with Bryn from Bryn Felix, and that aired on Monday of this week. And so you can check that out on the conduit. But I've also reached out to the good doctor and again also to Greg to have a one-on-one. And not necessarily to address this, but now that this is out here, I think he should have the space to,
Hmm.
say what.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, there's that wishy-washy word after consultation. That doesn't mean, I mean, you can consult with somebody and get two totally different answers, the one you want and the one you don't. So, you know, maybe technically, because he said he consulted, I don't know. But I did talk to our police chief, and I asked him how that would change our pursuit policy in Bremerton, and he said it won't.
oh
He
wow.
said because with in the state of Washington, you have police agencies that are accredited and ones that aren't accredited,
Hmm.
and it takes a lot to be accredited. And Bremerton went through that process,
Oh,
and
okay.
then they have to go through reaccreditation, I think every 2 years. But what it is making sure that they have policies in place that are legal, and that they have proof that they're training all their staff in those policies so people know it. So right now, I think less than half of um, police agencies in the state have accreditation. And so the policy that our city police chief and staff members worked on, they were really quite careful to make sure that, they're not breaking anybody's rights, but B, to also make sure that they're keeping the public safe, you know? I mean, even if somebody's an idiot speeding, they don't want to kill them, and they especially don't want to kill a bystander. So, but yeah, the chief said that there was little to nothing that would change in his. So,
Well, that's good to know.
yeah, because did you go to the police academy last year? The
No.
Citizens Academy? I'm
Mm-mm.
telling you, you got to go to it.
Did
It
you
was
do a ride along?
no, but you don't do a ride along. But it was like 5 or 6 nights for about 2 or 3 hours, and it was really informative. And they let you ask whatever you wanted to ask, and I asked plenty of questions. And I know some of them made some people uncomfortable because the chief told me later on that a couple of the guys were scared of me, but that's okay. But they were, really honest, and some of the stuff was like, well, maybe we should think about that. And there was a lot of community members there trying to learn more about how our police department operates. And I highly recommend people go to that. And I think the chief's going to try to do another session this fall.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So when you see it, go sign up for it. It's over at Olympic College. It's free. They even have water and snacks. So
Oh, it sounds interesting.
yeah, it really is.
Donuts.
No donut. My brother's yelling donuts. They didn't have donuts.
No donuts, and no bacon.
No, no bacon.
I guess
No.
that's more pejorative, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if that's the case, I love donuts and bacon. So
Hey, have you gone to the Midtown Market yet for donuts?
I have not.
They are outstanding. I mean, I have to stay away from there in the morning. They make them fresh every day there.
Well, there's like if they're so good, that line right there with you got Noah's Ark and Midway, and Noah's Ark is like my guilty pleasure, so I really try to stay out of there. But man, that banana shake, well, pretty much everything in there's. I've never had anything bad at Noah's Ark. So.
Yeah. Well, if you ever get a big donut craving, try the Midtown.
Oh man.
And they're reasonably priced. I mean, I've walked into some shops and they're like $3 for a donut. It's like it's a donut. It's not like a cake.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also aging me, so whatever.
I'm a sucker for an apple fritter or something with custard in it. So yeah,
they make apple fritters there.
Oh, do they?
And they make cream filled.
Ah,
and they make peanut butter and jelly ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Gonna have to check it out. Oh, one last thing. The Bremerton High is in our district.
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts on what's going on there? I know there's a lot of citizens that are up in arms and just such big swirling question marks as to what's going on.
Well, I got a lot of respect for a lot of the people involved. I love Dr. Crawford and the energy he's brought to our city. And Dr. Bolton, I campaigned for her, and I just I hope for our community that it just works out in the community's favor. I don't like most people in the community. There's a lot of people going around guessing. Mm-hmm. To me, it feels like there's outside disruptors trying to disrupt our school district. I don't know who they would be, but it just doesn't seem like something that any of the key players would go out of their way to do to our community. It's really sad, and I hope it resolves fairly soon.
Well, I guess I would just ask is just wait until the evidence comes in to make your decision one way or another.
Yeah.
We really can't afford, just going off on assumptions and
no. But I'm sticking by my outside disruptors because I do think there's somebody somewhere, because it's just unless I've totally misread all the people involved, I just don't see
So what are you saying? You
anything.
don't see Dr. Crawford doing the things that is being
I,
or you
I,
don't
I don't
even
know what,
privilege,
I have no idea what the accusations even are,
but
you
you
know?
don't see that in his character. Is that what you're saying when you mean outside agitators or
Yeah, because it looks to me like, there's some fake websites that have been made. And one of the fake websites that I was looking at was strongly in support of Joe Kennedy. And there are a lot of people who are still really angry at Bremerton School District for the Joe Kennedy incident.
now is
So
Joe Kennedy the coach who was praying?
yeah, yeah.
Why would that be regardless of what side you were on that, why would that be
Well, because it was weird that it was on this website that was made to look like a Bremerton School District website. I mean, there was a lot of things. So I don't know. I really don't know. But
or
it seems to me like there's somebody on the outside who wants to do harm to our school board and our superintendent altogether. Don't know though.
well, hopefully it gets sorted out. You know, that
Yeah,
it looked
I
like
hope
the
so.
BSD was headed in the right direction and the
Yep.
outlook was bright. So, you know, I will tell folks earnestly, I have no idea at
Yeah.
all. And so that's why I haven't spoke about it. I haven't texted, you don't see any Facebook posts. I have no idea. And
And
so
I don't think anybody does, and the people who say they do, I think they're bullshitting us. you know.
tell me how you really feel, Jade.
Yeah. You know. I mean, folks on the board and Dr. Crawford are the only ones who even know what any of the accusations are. So,
Yeah. I'm an opinionated person, but I have no opinion here because I don't know anything to form an opinion on. So
yeah.
I think there's a strength in saying, "Hey, I don't know."
Yeah.
We get into trouble when either we lie or we try to, make something out of something we can't make anything out of. So,
Yeah.
no, thank you for talking about those things, and I know that could be tough, and a lot of people would like, "No, I don't want to even. I didn't want to talk about it at all." So it's
Well,
one of
just remember
the about you.
my opinions only, not the opinions of the council.
Absolutely. Do noted. Do noted.
Okay.
So what's going on in the next month? Are you going to
The
be
next month, we're going to be talking about starting to get into the budget. We're going to
okay?
be talking about the ordinance that the mayor would like us to pass. Um, we're going to be talking about bikes. We're going to be talking about which grants to apply for and which ones not to apply for. Um, Not that most people are really interested, but we're doing a lot of things in our utilities to open up fish passages, which to me is pretty exciting. Not as exciting as getting a bike lane, but it's pretty exciting. And yeah, our utility engineers are just cranking out project after project. So
Well, and all those things go together. What is the city's annual budget approximately?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, it's up there.
It's
Uh,
up there.
but I think it's good to talk about all those things, even if it's boring.
Hmm.
People have this idea. I've had conversations with people recently. It's like, oh, why are they, putting in this roundabout? Why does the roundabout cost so much money? And
Hmm.
it's like these were things that were decided years ago, and they're just being done. This is a pocket of money here. You don't pay for your pizza out of your rent money, right?
Yep.
There's different. So having those conversations and educating the community is really important.
Yes. So I had a very poorly attended district meeting in July about the budget. So I think I'm going to try to do it again, like maybe October, and try to get more people there so that they understand. I mean, there's a lot of things we have to pay for every year. I mean, we have to. So discretionary funding is limited, and then it's limited again where like you can't take extra utility money and go buy a bathroom for downtown Bremerton. But there's got to be a way to do that too.
Well, last thing before I get you out of here, I wanted to let you know, in case you didn't, I know it's outside the city, but they filled the pothole on Rydell at that Bank of America.
Oh, yay.
That's one of the last things we spoke about. And I went to Bank of America a few days ago, and I'm like, oh, it's filled. The pothole is gone. So if anyone else was feeling my pain on that, that thing has been filled in. So that's
excellent.
Worse. So that is great. Well, can anyone find you throughout the city doing any events before we meet next month?
Oh, sure. Number one, anybody, it doesn't, you don't have to be in District 4. If you need some help with something, send me an email. After I get your email, if you're not nutty, I give you my actual text number so you can text me direct. But but I gotta test you. But send me an email if there's anything I can help you with, and sometimes I can. You know, I helped my friend Shauna the other day. She was having problems because they gated off her alley, and it was really difficult for her to get to her home. And there's big old padlocks that she had to climb the fence to undo, and they were changing the code on her, and the gates are coming down, and they gave her the code so she can easily get in and out until those fences come down.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, it's not a big thing, and probably nobody else cares, but Shauna cares, and making her life a little bit easier.
Hey, a closed mouth doesn't get fed, and there could be apathy, or you think people won't do anything. Please just make your voice heard. Jane and several other council members make themselves available. They come on here. It's a big deal, and so they're trying to reach you in many different ways to hear what your issues and concerns are. And again, I appreciate you from that. Matt from America says it was great watching you guys. So thanks, Matt, for tuning in.
Thank you, Matt.
And when is your next community meeting? Are you going to skip the one in
I'm going to skip August because I think people just have too much going on in the summer. So it'll be the first Thursday in September. Okay. We'll have it and be back up at the high school. And if anybody has suggestions of what they would like the discussion topic to be or the speaker, let me know, because I don't have anybody scheduled yet. I will get somebody scheduled. But yeah, the meetings are for you to learn more about what the city's doing or what you want us to be doing.
All right. I love it. Matt says he's here in Silverdale. So shout out to Silverdale. All right. Well, thank you, Jane. It's good to see you again.
You too.
Last night in study session. I see you all the time because I'm broadcasting out. But enjoy the rest of July, and I will see you in August. And for everyone out there, as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other. I'm R1 Cameron. This is The Conduit. We will see you next time.
Bye.